Okay, welcome to the Saturday Talk. We are here and glad to see you from Chicago in this beautiful morning. Thank you for joining us on this talk that we're going to have. Our guest is a beautiful person, and we're going to wait a few minutes before I start talking about this wonderful woman. So, how are you doing, Erica?
Hi guys, I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to bring this program. Thanks to Soraya. Thank you, Soraya, for putting this together for all the business owners and for Greater Southwest. And I'm so happy that we're doing this podcast or this Saturday talk because I think we don't have a space. Business owners don't have a space for themselves to express and to listen experts. I'm sorry, to listen to other experts, right? To give their advice or support in many other ways. So I'm so excited to be doing this, collaborating with you guys, and especially with you, Soraya, with all these amazing things that you're bringing for us.
And I want to take advantage of this moment to thank our partnerships with the big reason, well, because of the alumni, we have this space. Let's mention Greater Eaglewood Chamber of Commerce, Emerald South, Sunshine Enterprises, and Rogers Park Business Alliance. Thank you for your support. It's very important that as organizations we come together and start doing this type of work, open these doors and windows and all the houses for the business owners. Thank you, and especially thank you to our guest. Last week we have a beautiful woman too, Minue Yoshida, and we had a great time with her in both sessions, English and Spanish. Remember, we want to have our Spanish session in a few minutes. And this Saturday Talks is all about comfortable room to chat about your business. And this occasion, we have Jacqueline Camacho. Jacqueline Camacho is a successful woman. And I'm going to stop right there because I won't talk until another people connect with us. How about if you guys take the time and share the link, the Google Meet link with your social media? I'm going to do that right now. And we're going to talk today. The theme today is use social media efficiently for your business. It's very important. We have a lot of courses and workshops about financial stuff, but we don't have this type of themes like social media nowadays is very important. So it's like an urgency that we learn about this, especially us. We have a lot a few minutes. We have a training how to use connect two screens and the microphone and all this stuff that probably I am new in this. So we gotta start doing our part, so we take advantage of all these free tools that social media offer us. So I'm gonna share this. Jackie, if you want to share the link with your Instagram or Facebook health, it would be awesome.
Wonderful. Let me.
The link is on the GSDC Business Academy alumni event. Click on the event and you go down, and there is the link.
Perfect. Perfect. It has been shared.
Okay. How about you, Erica?
Working on it too.
We're doing everywhere. Mm, It's 10:05. Um,
Perfect. I'm ready when you are. Hmm.
okay. Well, we're gonna start. Um, I would like to introduce and talk about a little bit of the big curriculum that Jackie Camacho has. She's a visionary social entrepreneur that has created an enterprise of inspiration. Her keen sense of service, coupled with the vision to bring good to the world, have led her to create two successful award-winning companies, establish two nonprofit organizations, and publish 17 books. 17! Oh my God, there's
Wow. It's
only
amazing.
17! Create over 10 products and has held dozens of events around the world in just the past decade. She is often referred to as a dream catcher. I love the word. As her strategies have supported thousands of women, authors, and young ladies to live a life of significance. Jacqueline's quest to be a servant leader extends to every area of her life. She is one of the few Latina sports airplane pilots, and at only 36 years of age, she has achieved what most would not do in an entire lifetime. Being a cancer survivor sparked a sense of urgency to serve and transcend. Welcome, Jacqueline Camacho. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bravo,
Thank
bravo.
you. Thank you for being here and for being the person that you are. Personally, I met Jackie a few years ago, and since the first uh, minute that you met her, is like sparks all over the place. Is magic. She is magic. Thank you, Jackie, for being
Yeah,
here
thank
and
you.
to share the magic with other people and especially our community. Thank you.
Thank you. No, this is wonderful to be back. As we were talking about, I had been engaged with GSDC for like a long time ago. We did some programs, and this amazing community helped us become a hub for our young Latinas, ages 12 to 25, as part of our foundation. So, it was so nice to be able to collaborate with them back then. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I think person is connecting. Emerson Maldonado. He was with us last week, I think, right? So Emerson is from Mexico City, and he's a business owner. Well, he used to be. He used to, but it was a very enrichful, like to have him. Okay, Jackie. Well, this Saturday talk is all about talking in an informal way how to use social media to your to enhance your business. So you are an expert uh, launching two successful companies. What is the advice for our business owners in Chicago and all around the world uh, to use these tools?
Yeah, no, first of all, again, thank you so much for having me here. I'm really excited. I love marketing. I love integrated marketing. And I love social media. And what I can tell you about that is that a lot of the same rules that you apply to your business offline also apply online. Starting with your core values as a company, as an entity, right? You want to make sure that there's alignment of the person or the company that you are offline as the same as the person that you are online with all the communications, all the interactions. So before we begin kind of reaching out to the world, we need to establish who we are. We need to establish the tone of voice that we want to use. Do we want to be more authoritative, act like an authority, or do we want to be more open to being, welcoming with the audience? Do we want to use stern call to actions, or do we want to use, ways to inspire the community without asking people to necessarily do something in that moment? So defining who you are and like really what is your mission for being on social media, right? Social media is just one of the many vehicles that you can use to elevate a message that you want to share, elevate your brand, your product. And a lot of times we think, oh, social media or any other vehicle is the only thing that I should use. And people get frustrated when they see that one thing, one vehicle doesn't give you all the answers. So first of all, I want to make sure that when you're putting together a marketing strategy and you're incorporating social media, you also consider that there are other spaces that you can use in conjunction with social media so that you can have a better and more amazing effect. Um, but you know what? Social media strategy begins with the same elements as an offline strategy begins with. And that is, how do you define your audience? What do you want to say to that audience? What are the key messages? And three, how are you going to communicate those messages? Because even in the world of social media, you have so many key components of, like if you want to do more business, you use obviously LinkedIn. If you want to have heavy content with photos, you use Instagram and Facebook. So it also depends. So we can kind of dive a little bit deeper on that. But I don't know if so far, I mean, I just want to make sure that, we knew the target audience, the key messages, and then the vehicles. And that's where social media becomes one of those vehicles, right? I'm going to see if I can actually show you. Um, a few years ago, you're going to love this. And a few years ago, I realized that I was being asked the same questions over and over again about media, social media, and all the other marketing vehicles. So I decided to create this little deck of cards. And essentially, what it is, it explains to you every single one of the marketing vehicles, including social media, word of mouth, out of home, advertising. And what it does is that it tells you what it is, it tells you the expectations, the examples, the frequency, and then the correlation between the cost and the effectiveness. So I would love to everyone that was here, I would love to make sure that you get one of these because it'll give you some unique insights about how you can create your own marketing strategy. So
Amazing. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I didn't saw that before.
yeah.
That's huge. And this
Yes.
is like a very comfortable way to carry on, like in your purse or suitcase,
Mm-hmm.
wherever you go, you take those and
Yeah.
you use your,
Yeah,
your
essentially.
stock in it.
Yeah, because a lot of business owners, they're like, oh my God, I'm so confused with so many different algorithms and changes of social media, so many different new vehicles and this type of advertising. So if you know the main ways to promote it, then you can understand how to bring them together. So again, a gift for all of you, so that you guys can have access to just some of the main marketing vehicles and how you can combine them, so you can create your own marketing strategy.
Thank you,
So
Jackie.
so thank you so much. So I don't know if you had any other questions. I can continue
Jackie,
just kind
you
of,
can put this in a very simple way. Like, you mentioned that we have to do social media we need to know who is our target audience, but let's talk about it in a way like, for example, I'm not an expert in social media. I can confess this right now. Like, can you see, I can see and scroll down Facebook, I can scroll down Twitter, but how can I do that in my business owners? I have a small restaurant or a small retail. How can I do that? How can I make that in an easy way?
Yeah, so one of the main reasons why a lot of companies don't have consistency in their presence of social media is because they didn't take the time to plan it out. So once you know who you are, what is the tone that you want to share with the audience, who's your target audience, what are the things that you want to say, and you know for certain that you want to use social media as part of the mix. And of course, it is one of the most effective vehicles now, especially when we are virtual, a lot of our work, right? And it's how do you extend the things that you would do offline to this world of social media so that somebody connecting with you for the first time, they can see the first post and feel a connection with you. So the very first element is that you need to take the time to plan. Brian Tracy said that for every minute that you plan, you save 10 minutes in the execution of that plan. And one of the biggest fails of social media is saying, I want to start posting every week, every 2 days, every single day on multiple channels. And you become very ambitious of your marketing strategy, right? You say, I'm going to post on Twitter, I'm going to post on Instagram, I'm going to post on Facebook, on LinkedIn. And then you begin this amazing journey. And the first week is amazing. And then week two, you're like, oh my God, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have any more ideas. What am I going to post on Thursday? And then you get busy and you kind of forget about it, right? By week three, you're only posting once a week. And you'll be lucky if by week four, you continued that, level of engagement. So first thing that you need to do as a business owner, and I typically do this on Sunday, and it probably sounds weird that I do it on Sunday, but I want to be out of my busyness during the week so that I can take myself out, have a nice perspective, and then visualize the week ahead so that I can use my planning, I can strategize. And that's exactly what business owners need to do when it comes to their social media. Take the time so that you can plan out an editorial calendar. An editorial calendar is essentially coming up with a content for the next 30 to 60 days. So if your frequency is daily, you need to come up with basically 60 days worth of content so that next month you come up with another 60 days and you're always a month ahead. Isn't that amazing that, like that is literally, I've seen it so many times with blogs, with, social media posts, with email blast. People become, wow, it's it's so exciting to launch this new initiative. But you know what? You having a post on your page that is a month old is so much worse than not having anything at all. You having a post on your social media that is 2 weeks old, especially when we live in a world of immediacy, it's like it makes you look horrible. It makes you look like, and people even oftentimes wonder, are they still in business? Isn't that incredible how, and in your business, of course, you have the things that you do to work in your business, right? These are the operational things that you have to do, all the fires that you got to put out. And unfortunately, social media is not at the top of the scale when it comes to our priorities. So if you don't plan it out, you will miss out on so many opportunities and you will even send a bad impression to your audience. So I think that's going to help all of us. And again, an editorial calendar just basically means that on Monday you're going to post this, on Tuesday you're going to post that, and you literally have it laid out for the next 60 days. And then you'll be in control, right? Always ahead of the game, always planning out, always giving yourself an opportunity to come up with amazing ideas to sprinkle within your post. So that would be number one. Yeah, that was a wonderful question, Viridiana. Thank you.
Great points, Jackie. So now, just can be possible that you can give us a short example, like what does it mean a call of action?
Perfect. So essentially, a call to action is something that we want the audience to do. Every ad that you do, every article, every email blast, every social media post should always be accompanied by a call to action. So An example of a call to action is visit our website today, inquire within, place your order today, share this post with someone today, right? Post this on your page, um, call us, email us, text us, send us a message. All those things activate something within the audience. And if you're doing posts just to do, you're missing out on an opportunity to guide your audience, because just like we have a process to sell and to get, basically prospects into your funnel, into your business, the buyer also has a process, and the buyer needs to see and hear from you and needs to be guided by your messages and say, what do you want me to do? Ultimately, if I become a brand advocate of your messages on social media, of your culture, of your products, what do you want me to do? So we as business owners, as marketers, have to be very aware of what is it that we're looking for the audience to do, because ultimately you want to move them through the 5 stages of that process, which is, first, they see you, they don't invest anything in you. This might be an ad or something that you put on social media, a post, and they see it and they're like, this is quite interesting, I'm going to look more. So the first action that the audience is taking is that they're clicking on something, right? So that tells you that, they're not ready to buy yet, but they're kind of interested, right? So they took the time to literally click on something. So once they do that, and they open up a whole world of your content, they start seeing the social media posts that you do every Tuesday with inspirational quotes. They start to see the pictures that you post and always helping the community. They start to, then they go to their website and they realize, like, wow, you know, this company is really an amazing company to work with. And then they start to notice that. And then they do another action that lets them know, that lets you know that whatever you've put out there with your messages and whatever touch points basically sprinkled, they're catching on that, right? And what they do is they might pick up the phone and call and say, I want to work with you. I've been seeing your social media messages every Tuesday. That inspirational quote just really got me going. And then they call and they say, I want an appointment with you. So this is when you have either a phone call or a conversation and say, you know what, I need your products. I've been thinking about it, but every time I see your post, I just kind of like, I want to work with this company. And then they finally make the purchase, right? So now the buyer says, I've not only clicked on something on social media, I've also investigated about your company. I've clicked on your website. I've made the phone call. So now you have at least 4 ways that they're interested in buying from you, right? When they get to the sale, if your product matches the quality that they're trying to buy, or it exceeds their expectations in the delivery, the packaging, the messaging that you put in, how they open the box, like, how did you make that happen? Then what happens is that they now become a brand advocate. And what we want to do from everybody that comes to a call to action on social media, we want them to become ultimately somebody that goes through the funnel, purchases the product, becomes a brand advocate because you've done an amazing job leading them there by the way that you guided them. And the product is of amazing quality. So then you have all the key points. So now for them, the next step is to start referring you people. So essentially, after somebody goes through all the phases, what we ultimately want is to have provided such an incredible experience with our content, with our voice, with our messages, with our email blasts, with our website, that they are irresistible. Like, basically the message is irresistible to the point where you've now created an environment where they become, an advocate for you, a witness, and they become, somebody that refers you clients on a regular basis. And that's what has happened with a lot of our clients, from that process of, click here, let me give you value, let me give you more value, let me give you a little bit of inspiration, but now don't forget to click on the website. And that's essentially how you guide them through a call to action.
Okay, so I noticed talking about the small businesses and in a lot of our cases at the southwest of Chicago, it's a lot of small businesses like
Mhm.
restaurants mostly, and I noticed it that they don't have a like a good website set it up. So it's very
Mhm.
important. What is the importance of have a very very nice website? It's like the door of your business nowadays.
Yes. You know, you all as a business need a container, a main container that houses all of your value. It houses who you are. It provides an opportunity for people to give you a third party endorsement. You know, this is where you have the media placements. This is where you have the capabilities, the benefits, the KPIs. Because you know what? The first thing people do nowadays, as a basically educated consumer, you click on, you go to Mr. Google, right? And you
True.
Mhm.
type it up. And then you realize, like, if they don't have a website, what is the first thing you say? You say, wow, you know what? I
We
don't know if they're
don't
in
have
business. I don't know if they're legit
yeah.
because of that website. So, a website is super important. Website is divided into three main aspects. One is the content. Again, going back to that message, like, what are you saying? What is your tone of voice? What do you want? What do you want to, make people feel? The second is functionality. What do you want people to be able to do on your website? Do you want this website to be packed with amazing value and have a section of videos where they can absorb information, in a multi-sensory kind of way? Or do you want to have more audio? Do you want to have more images? Do you want to have downloadable features? Do you want to, the companies that make innovation happen, and the companies that are constantly bursting at the seams with business are those that constantly add value. So you then bring it back, like, I want to, like, I'm building right now some guides for our own website, because a lot of people ask us, like, hey, how do you plan an event? How do you do this? How do you do that? So I've created these beautiful guides, and people can download them on our website for free, right? So the website is the window to the world. It's again divided into the content, the message, the functionality, and the final part of it is the aesthetics. I worked with my husband for the last almost 14 years, right? He is probably one of the most creative and multifaceted artists that I've ever met. And I was interviewing him, because I got this like idea. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna interview him, like this is amazing. Like, I get to work with an artist, and he builds beautiful brands for people, all over the world. And he said that good design inspires you to take action, right? Good design, and especially on a website, captivates you. When you're looking at a website, and even on a social media platform, there have been studies, after studies and studies done. They basically, when you're looking at the screen, that screen section is essentially the prime real estate of that website. And typically, if you're a consumer, they've studied how they move on the website, and they realize that when you go to that page, based on whatever fits on your screen, you typically go to the upper right, then you kind of follow that line to the upper left, upper right, then you go down diagonally, and then you go to the right. So imagine, if you're looking in front, if you have the computer in front of you, your prime real estate part of your website begins like a Z, like you just basically do kind of like do, and over again. So when you have a website, and if you know that the website is a window to the world, make sure that your content resonates, make sure that the functionality is there to add value so that you can get people into the funnel. And third, make sure that it's beautifully appealing and it's aesthetically and gorgeous so that you can inspire people to take action and go to your social media too.
Oh, that's amazing. I know Jackie's products. She's been taking the time by Juan Pablo's, your husband's side, and they created like a tons of like an agenda. Beautiful. I don't have it here. Uh,
I do.
Magic books. Tell us about your book. There's Make It Happen. journal.
Yes, that is the productivity journal.
It's
Yeah, I mean,
beautiful.
we've created so many products over the years, and my husband has pretty much designed my 17 books, except one, and he's probably designed over 50 additional books and thousands of products and brands, and over the years, imagine like almost 14 years of working together in his
In,
main
in
mission.
summary, wherever we see, it doesn't matter if it's a screen, if it is a book, if it is a
Hmm.
flyer, if it is a presentation card, it doesn't matter, but it has to be well done,
Hmm.
appealing to your eyes, and that's a something that I want to remark. It is very important, as Jackie says, design, and everyone loves beautiful things.
True.
So
Yeah.
you have to put a lot of effort.
But you know what? Here's the thing too, is that sometimes they say that beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Mm.
And
Yes.
I actually, yeah, I want to give you, if you guys want, I can give you some tips that like from the interview with him about, beautiful things and how you can make beautiful things come to life. And, again, the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but there's some like, you know, principles that apply to any good design. And we can, share this with for social media so that your audience can have just kind of a notion of how to promote those beautiful images on social media. And by the way, I just shared to my link to one of the websites so you can see some of the designs. And there's also an assessment that you can take as a small business owner that asks you basically is asking you 20 questions in 5 different areas of marketing, and it gives you a score out of 100. So it's pretty cool, so that you can kind of check out. It's totally free, and you can check out to see if your marketing is up to par. Right? It takes about 5 minutes to do.
Thank you so
Okay,
much, Jackie. We have. I'm sorry. Sorry for interrupting you. We have a question in the chat.
yes,
Oh yeah.
I was going that way.
Thank you.
Person make a comment: more planning, less control. More planning, less control. Emerson, thank you for your participation. Viri Martinez, from a marketing perspective, how important is it to have a brand or consistent image of social media? Should business owners focus on their online presence prior to posting any content?
Yeah. So two questions. One is,
One
you
question.
know, yes. So do you guys know, like, for example, when we see a little apple, we think of the company Apple, right? When we see, like, if you were to go to the store and see the Tide aisle, but the orange of the color was kind of off, like washed off, you would probably think it's not real, right? Or if you, for example, Coca-Cola, if the color was not the red that we're used to seeing, and it was something else, you'd probably be wondering, like, okay, are they the legit thing? Are they, are they for real, right? So big companies do not do not break the boundaries of consistency ever. And they pay thousands and thousands of dollars to make sure that every touch point, a touch point is anything that has your logo on it, right? It could be online, it could be offline, it could be a t-shirt, it could be a note, it could be a piece of paper, a napkin. But anything that has your logo, you're responsible for. That is called a touch point. So if big corporations do not ever waver in their consistency of how they present their brand, or Nike always says, just do it, right? They don't wake up the next day and say, you know what, just do it. No, maybe let's do, just make it happen, right? They don't change that. And sometimes in simple things, you find the most incredible consistency. So big corporations do not ever waver. Why should a small company that has limited budget, that has limited opportunities compared to some of the big brands to create touch points in the world, why is a small business owner becoming creative, so to speak, right? To have different versions of their brand. I think that's one of the biggest pet peeves that I see, or not, like pitfalls, I'm sorry, that I see, and one of my biggest pet peeves too, but the pitfalls that I see with the small business owners that they say, hey, we just did a whole exercise on our branding and our colors and our consistency. And then somebody comes into the team and 3 months later, like, hey, you know what? It's spring. Let's change our brand of color blue to green. Let's change it to pink. Let's change it to, and they get really creative when they shouldn't. Once you establish your brand, unless you go through a very systematic, beautiful, process driven, transformation of your brand, and you have a marketing strategy in place to announce that you're going to be having a different logo, you should always stick to your brand. Every touch point makes a huge impact in the limited budget, in the way that you have, let's say that you can only connect with people 5 times: social media, on your website, on an email blast, through the microphone, and through a podcast. Imagine if that's all you had, and two of those didn't match with the rest of them. They would never know that is your company, because you don't have the brand recognition like Apple does, right? So if they don't waver, let's learn from those Fortune 500 companies that are doing it right, and that are utilizing every opportunity that they have with consistency all across the board, in the simplicity of their design, and they're making it happen, right? So let's follow that, and I think you'll be so much better off than trying to be creative and changing up your brand every time, or every vehicle, right? So consistency, yes, it's key. Um, should business owners focus on their online presence prior to posting any content? Um, you know, Creating online presence is part of creating content. So you should focus on creating your brand, then create the content, and then you'll create the brand presence. So, there's like one step prior to that, which is who we are, what is the message that we want to convey, who's our audience, all that is encapsulated there. Create the content that will match those messages in the creative, which is the design. And then third, then you begin to build your online presence. And people start to share your content. They start to get a flavor for who you are. And that's when, you can apply consistency, and you can also build that presence that, everybody has become kind of this micro media outlet, micro influencer, because we all have access to social media, and online channels, but primarily social media. So we got to be very consistent with that.
Okay, Jackie, thank you very much. I don't know if one of our guests here, participants, do you have any questions for Jackie? Any questions, guys?
Remember, you can put it in the chat. If you don't have access to your microphone, put it in the chat.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you don't want to talk, you can put it in the chat. Uh,
Yeah, perfect. Maybe while they ask a question, I promise you I was going to give you some pointers for
Yes,
creating
please.
like social media postables or social media e-cards. You see these beautiful quotes or message points with a beautiful design that has your logo on it. So I'm gonna give you some pointers that I got from my husband, aka the creative director for my marketing agency, and we've been partners for quite a few years. And this is not only applying to these e-cards that you can share in social media, but it's also applying to any other design that you do for your brand. Okay, so I'm going to share just a couple of little things that I've got gathered from my husband. Like I said, he's been at the agency for almost 14 years. So think about this. If you have a space, one of the biggest mistakes that people make is that they want to fill up every little inch square of that space, and that's not good. What good design do, right? You have to have that beautiful balance between black, white space and content, and know that just because you have a space this big or this big or this big, that you have to fill up every corner of that space with design, with content, with little drawings, with little things. You don't have to make something busy. You can literally have one background and one word and a design, and that'll be, depending on the type of font that you use, that'll be a beautiful balance between the white space based on what you're trying to do. um, So make it easy to read, easy to understand, including the white space. People typically have 5 to 7 seconds to in order to say, you know what, I got the message. I'm in. I got this. Makes perfect sense. And if you don't take the time to say, you know what is that one thing that I want to share, and how can I relate that in 3 seconds instead of five? So when they see it, they're like, wow, they're captivated with the content, they're captivated with the design, and then they take action. Um, if you have a design on social media that you look at and it makes you want to put it aside so that you can basically analyze it later, that means that the design is not doing its job. Because when you do a good design and a combination of that white space and that content, you want to read more in that moment. So anything that says, you know what, hold on, yeah, no, too complicated. I'll put it aside. I'll save it in my bookmarks and I'll come back and read it later. Bad design. That's like a ba, ba, ba. You want to read it right there. You want to be immersed in the design. You want to like find out more. And that's how you know it's a good design, when people raise their hand and say, oh my God, what is that? You click on it and you go further and further till the time where you buy the product and become an advocate for that brand, right? So those are some of the tips that that my husband gave me. And you know what's interesting too is that when he's doing designs for like social media and the banners and the e-cards, like I asked him, like, how do you see what to put on there? He says, a picture, like he starts working on a project and a picture comes to his mind. And I'm like, how do you know when you've completed that? He's like, when I see the picture of my mind in front of the screen and it becomes this beautiful, social media image. And I know that it's there. I know that it's completed. Isn't that amazing?
Awesome. Awesome. Uh,
I
Jackie, Jorge. Hello,
hi,
Jorge.
hi, Soraya.
How
Hello,
are you?
Jackie. This is Jorge.
Hi,
Good. How are you? I
I'm
have a
doing
quick
amazing.
question. Going back, I'm sorry, I was talking on mute all along. Um, going back to the point where you say, you create a brand, you stick to it. That's gonna be your image, right? But what if, growing your image, you do realize that sometimes a change would be necessary, right? Just because you realize that you would be able to target other people that you didn't have an idea. How do you recommend you would go about making a change like that once you establish your image, your brand, and you realize that if you change your image, it might actually give you a better view of the company. I don't know if I'm making my point clear here.
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially like, as a small business, when we talk about consistency, is how do you pivot, right? How do you determine when is the time to make a change within the company so that you can target a different audience, right? But are you talking about continuing to target the companies that you work with, like the existing clients, and then also embracing a new market, or are you talking about completely changing it from market A to market B?
Well, I think at this point it wouldn't be like a complete change, right? It would just be something that would help you target, a broad amount of people, right? Changing your whole image. I believe with what you said, right? Sticking
Mhm.
to your brand would be one of the things that will make you. But at the same time, I feel like there comes a point where you might realize that making a small change here and there will help you or benefit you target more people down the line, right? So obviously you would have to make it to every one of your touch points, but is there a specific way that you kind of want to follow in those scenarios in order to maintain your brand and keep the people that you have? Of course, you don't want to lose out on what you have already for trying to get something else, right? Is there a specific route that you recommend to take on this point?
Yeah, no, I think that what I was referring to earlier is the fact that we, like, from day to day, we might change things in our brand, just because we feel like it, right? So the idea is always to calibrate where you are, calibrate where, where you're going, because, we always want to continue to evolve in our business, but also make sure that you make it strategic. Make sure that, hey, we're making this change, and then you have a clear path of communicating that change. So extemporaneous changes to your brand, just because, without any specific strategic purpose, and just, completely changing that, that's what I'm talking about, that we need to, not, that we don't have that luxury, but strategic changes that are planned out, that are in alignment with the vision of where you want to be, and that, that it'll open doors. It's perfectly fine, because you can say, what, phase one, we're going to update the colors of our logo. Phase two, we're going to change the tagline. Phase three, all of these processes are going to be applied to our capabilities and our services. So, you can make changes in your brand as long as you know why you're making them, and that it's not just extemporaneous changes, that are, sacrificing really the brand assets, and the brand equity that you have, just because you felt it like that day, right? Because the next day you might feel like, hey, you know what, I'm going to change it back. So as long as you plan it out, as long as it's very strategic, and as long as you have a clear pathway, many companies that I work with, from startups to Fortune 500 companies, use rebranding as an opportunity to not only continue to nurture the relationship with their existing database and the existing client base, but they use it as an opportunity to open up a new market and embrace that, and become, a little bit bigger in that sense, with customized messages. Because um, it's not about, making it more general, but it's, knowing your primary, secondary, tertiary markets, and how the branding can apply to every single one of them, and always expressing the benefits to the audience, right? Well, I'm changing the brand. We're very excited. We have this new logo coming up. We have this new tagline that embodies who we are as a company, and we're excited to share this with you. Help us spread the word, right? So all the changes, if they're done strategically and they're planned out, can serve as an amazing vehicle to grow your company. So that would be the instance where you can, how you can make it happen.
Bueno, espero que haya quedado claro, Jorge. I hope you understand.
It did. Thank you for the insight. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Okay, we're close to 11 a.m. 11 a.m. As a reminder, we're going to have our Spanish session with Jackie Camacho again. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank
We're going to
you.
take a few minutes break. Thank you for sharing your knowledge about this important talk. And again, thank you. I think we take a lot of highlights from this talk with you. Thank you for sharing again. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we'll see you in a few minutes. Thank you guys for joining us in this Saturday talk. We'll
Thank
see
you,
you.
Jackie. Thank you so much.
Thank,
Bye.
thank you. Thank you.